We're making open attack on him. Number one, the floaters. They must be making spank on that big boat that Curly led you to. So we got to use our heads. Or rather, one head. Your head. I'm asking you to destroy this spank factory as a personal favor to me, Salvatore Young. If you do this to me, you will be a made man. Anything you want. Yes, yes. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and my people, guys, look alive. It's your boy, Act Reacher. This is you. Or the Honorable Galvatron beside it. You got all our witnesses and jury. You may all be seated if you're not seated already. Court is now in session. Special guest bailiff, Stormybman. Let the people know how you doing, brother. Thank you for coming along.
Yo, what's good with you, man? Feeling pretty good today. Thanks for having me on, bro.
No problem. No problem. I would like to first ask you how you've been doing as far as the pandemic. You know, before we get started with the boxing talk and things like that. Like, how have you been?
Well, I've been pretty good, man. My wife and I, we've been very disciplined. I'm an essential worker, so I have to take the precautions that's necessary going out to and from work. I have to deal with the public on my job. So, you know, I'm wearing masks and gloves and all of that. And really when the weekends, because I don't work on the weekends, when they roll around, I'm doing stuff creatively in the house, trying to prepare my channel for, you know, future shows and doing research on material and stuff for the show. So this has become a not so bad thing for me because I could be doing some other stuff like doing some painting around here or something, but I can find an excuse not to do that. So, but yeah, my family is good. My grandbabies are good. And we're fortunate that we're good thus far.
That's good, brother. I'm really happy to hear that. I've been good. I'm also an essential worker. I work at a seniors retirement for like veterans and stuff like that were in the service and stuff like that. So I do maintenance. I do everything kind of in there, and they trying to make me an aide. I'm like, man, that is too much, man. Y'all got me too locked in. You know, I still gotta do my boxing thing. You know what I'm saying? They understand that though. They understand that now. So we got that. But other than that, I'm glad to hear that you're doing good, brother. Let's reside over a couple of these cases, if you don't mind, brother. The first one I want to talk about is the WBC, the LDBC boy, the WBC up on charges. This was a while ago when they stripped Desern Cruz for the title because of the Jimenez situation. I know you're familiar with that. You're a boxing guy like me. So could you elaborate, tell us how you feel and, you know, about the whole situation, and now they reinstated her as the WBC champ. She already got the WBO belt back. She had got that back a while ago.
Right.
But just now reinstating her maybe about a week ago, I want to say, as the WBC champion. So I just want to know your feelings and stuff about the whole situation and the fight. You could go into all of that.
Well, first, let me just say that I'm glad that she has her championship belt back under the circumstances that saw her losing the title. It was unjust that they didn't act with swiftness to turn things around. I think they spent too much time protecting the other person there. I don't even want to mention her name because it's disgraceful. Even if she had been a stand-up person herself and just said, hey, you know what, you know, I'm going to give that belt up, give it back or whatever. which in these times you don't expect the person to have that type of character, because people are not showing that type of character. You can just look at what's going on every day, and I don't even want to get into that, but it's like I do feel that she was, deservedly to get her title back, but to almost be without it for almost a year, it's disgraceful by the sanctioning body that held her title up. And I do believe that even that decision to do that is tied into some kind of way of what is transpiring in our world, because people have had enough of just injustice, and like I said, I don't want to take it down that avenue for a conversation, because we can keep it boxing. But yes, I am happy that she has her title returned. She deservedly should have been awarded the title months ago, and she's been a stand-up individual herself for how she's handled herself and how she carried herself like a champion.
Yes, she did.
And I can't help but do anything, but when the sport resumes, I'm going to make sure that I do what I can to show support behind her,
Yeah,
and speak positively of her and give her positive critique and things like that, because that's what we need when someone can be like that. Um, Even with how the events of the fight went down, she still carried herself with aplomb and as a champion, even down to the whole situation between her and her trainer, over the hairpiece thing, how she handled
oh man, listen, Storm,
Listen,
that's
she
what's
was
gonna
straight up
always
real
stand
about it.
out to me. And then after the fight, she said, "We snatching wigs." Yeah, I was crying. I was
Yeah.
crying. I said, "That's a
So
real Baltimore chick. That's
that's
a real
right, man. She
Baltimore."
was real and true about it, and how can you not respect that? How can you not
You
love
gotta
that?
respect.
Because
You know what, Storm? You right. You gotta respect the person that can embrace their flaws. You
absolutely,
gotta respect. I can never bang the gavel on that. But
absolutely,
what I will bang the gavel on is the WBC. No, no.
definitely.
We wasn't feeling that. It did take a long time. It did take a long time. And we sentenced y'all to never let Jimenez ever fight another woman ever again. That's what we sentencing y'all to. If she does, somebody get in the electric chair. We bringing it back. We going old
Yeah,
school. No sponge. No sponge.
absolutely, man. It was how the whole events that went down on Jimenez's side, you know, it's disrespectful to the sport. It's disrespectful to the champion who gave her a title shot. And it's disrespectful by the sanctioning body who elected to find a way to just have commune with the ethnicity, because that's what it was. The countryman or countrywoman aspect of things, instead of just looking at it and representing from the aspect of the sport and saying, hey, there's something wrong here. But they put her in there under those auspices. They already knew, okay, someone who wants to transition, okay, first and foremost, in a sport like this, you need to remove yourself from the sport. You need to remove yourself from the sport, because you're
That's not
actually,
fair. That's not it. And you want to know what was crazy, Storm, to me? That she was still able to hit her with shots, and I felt like Jimenez was really hurt by Discern. That goes to show you.
oh, listen, man,
Yo,
it's like it's like this. You
I'm
can't
gonna
have
get in the
it both
chat, y'all.
ways. You
I'm gonna
can't
get in
have
the
it
chat.
both
Go ahead,
ways.
Storm.
You can't have it both ways. You either want to be what is representative of the sport, or you do not. And under that, you have to make a decision. Yes, it's a hard decision to make, because what do you do as far as going out with, you know, uh, your way that you make a living, but hey, there are other sports that are just across the street where you can compete and things are a little more different. But in the
Yeah.
sport of boxing, no, we have to have it straight up what it is.
All right. Well said, Storm. Let me get in this chat. I'm sorry, y'all. Uh, the homie Alyssa Santos said, "Act hope this one is a good one, just like last week." Oh yeah, it's the Stormberry, the
Yeah.
Jab Stormberry, the hybrid. Uh, oh yeah, y'all see what I said. Marcus Johnson, salute. He said, "Salute, fam." My cousin E, he said, "Alyssa Santos, hopefully." Laugh out loud, making fun of the show. And then my boy Ron Finkley said, "Salute." And then my boy Drew, he said, "Bronx on deck." 88 Sports, salute, bro. I ain't see you in a minute. Good to see you, fam. Uh, he said, "Franchon is a great fighter." Ron Finkley said, uh, trust the establishment too much." She said, Ron Finkley said, "Hannah Gabriel is a good fighter. Also want to see her back in the mix." Yeah, me too. I like Hannah Gabriel. And I love how she is with her husband and how she really supports him. And they both boxers. I love it, man. Oh, man. I love that, man. I guess Ron Finkley was laughing about us bringing the WBC up on charges and me banging the gavel and sentencing him. That's how we are doing it. The gavel only don't work on you if you dead. That's it. Then BFTB got to deal with you. That's his job. And then Ron Finkley said Jared Anderson versus Johnny Langston, 6-round heavyweight ESPN Tuesday night fight. Ooh. You know what? I want to bring up something. I'm glad that you brought up that old thing, Ron Finkley. I was having a discussion with one of my unks or whatever, and he brought up a very old. He a little bit older. He like 55. So he was bringing up probably a fight when he was maybe a baby or just born, probably somewhere, maybe not even born, but it was an old fight, and there was a good Philadelphia. Let me say it in my old commentator voice, a sensational Philadelphia fighter, Lynn Matthews. He had a good record. He was a lightweight. He was my size, my height, like my frame. He was knocking everything out around this time. His record was like Tank's, because I was talking to him about Tank, and every time I think about this fight, I don't know why I'm thinking of Leo Santa Cruz and Tank. But anyway, Len Matthews, he was knocking everything out. So I guess after this fight, he would have been challenging for a title, whoever won this fight. Carlos Ortiz, who was from New York. He's from Manhattan. He was doing this thing, and then I guess he got clipped in 6th round from what my uncle told me, and he never was the same. His career was over after that. Like, Carlos Ortiz ended up going on. See, that's one of them fights in your generation where somebody goes all the way down and they never the same, and then the other one goes all the way up. Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say that about George Foreman, unless you want to say, oh, George Foreman was a separate entity from Big George Foreman, however you want to say. You know what I mean? If you want to say separate, then yeah, he destroyed the old school George Foreman. But I feel like, Big George Foreman had a whole career, so I won't consider George Foreman that. But y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I mean. And I see you. And then he said, yes, sir. And then Kurt Anderson, salute. He said, Act Reacher Stormy Panel, salute. Thanks for joining us, Kurt. I appreciate it, man. Newark's finest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. But I don't know why I think of that fight, but one of my friends said that they got Leo Santa Cruz in the fight.
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
I don't.
There is there is something going on here where you have to look at what's going on with Tank Davis and how they're picking and choosing his fights. And I'll throw a hypothetical out at you, and I'll just ask you a question within that hypothetical. When a fighter is being steered toward a certain path for what they consider, meaning his handlers may consider surefire success, you have to look at what principles fall under that. Now, I'll pose that question. What good black fighter has Tank fought?
Gamboa black, y'all. We can't Gamboa black. Gamboa black. We don't count Gamboa black. Nah,
society will count.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. American black fighter. American.
Yeah. And good the reason American that I
black.
say that,
it is a difference. It is a difference. There is
the reason that I say that is this. He may get quality sparring, but sparring ain't fighting under the lights. And you can't make a career off of fighting certain fighters, okay, where you think you might have physical and athletic advantages that you can take advantage of on a regular basis.
And look at them in the chat, Storm. They said none. No. He said Grimbo is
all right.
I take. They said it. They said it, Tank. It wasn't me this time. I tried to save you.
Yeah, ahead, see, this is where we're going. This is where we're going with this conversation, because in order to become a complete fighter, you have to face complete opposition. You have to face trial. You have to face circumstances where you graduate, where you go beyond where you are to get to another level. Okay? Now, if you keep going straight down the road, but you don't take the detours, you don't take, you go around the objects, you go over, you go under, and this and that, what will happen is one day that you thought was familiar can really take something away from you, and you'll be placed in a position and that will be even more shattering, because you never tested yourself. You never went. And this is not to say that he is incapable of passing tests, but he has to take them. It's like a guy that was on varsity basketball in high school, right? And they just pass him through the grade because he's on the team. He's all city, all state, but he's dumb as a rock. Okay. Now, yeah, he can go to University of Kentucky and Houston, the Phi Slama Jama and all of that, but he can't even write his name. Okay. Now, what's more important? Because eventually you will be tested. And this is all we're saying. And you look at these fighters of today, how many of them, and not, we're going outside of Tank now, how many of them have been in 50-50 fights?
I feel like, okay, I like that question. Okay. So I feel like one of the people that did it, and they didn't give him credit for it, and I'm banging all the gavel on everybody who ain't give my boy credit, was More Charlo. When More Charlo fought J-Rock was at the height of his career. And they was like, oh, no, don't move up. My man was having trouble making 154. He ain't a small dude, man. He was having trouble making. They was like, nah, you scared. Give him a chance. Then we chin checked him, got him out of here, still ain't give us no credit. No.
Well, true boxing people give him credit. You can't listen to the fools out there, because the fools don't.
And salute to Big Money in the chat. He said Stormy B, man.
Yeah, you can't listen to the fools, because the fools will always carry something too far one way or too far in the other direction. But you have to have level-headedness when you're talking about this, because that example you just gave with Charlo and J-Rock, Um,
And they was young.
J-Rock didn't pass that exam. And
Yeah.
guess what? Charlo did. And Charlo has gone on and he's still rolling. Okay. There will be more tests, hopefully, in his future where we can see exactly how good he is or how far he's come. Now, with J-Rock, what we have seen is we've seen him as a fighter who has been able to bounce back, right? And be successful and win a title. But he won a title against a guy that was far more limited than Charlo was. In hindsight, now being 2020, he's lost that opportunity straight away against a guy who we did not think necessarily would present that type of opposition for him. But guess what? That's what I always talk about when I say you got all these guys out here, they win titles before they learn how to fight. Okay? Now, in that fight against Jason Rosario, J-Rock was presented with some questions very early in that fight, and he failed miserably. Okay? That whole aspect of like the whole aspect of how to deal with trial. You know, he suffered a cut. Cuts are part of boxing. Okay? He dabbing at the cut over and over again, letting the opponent know it's bothering him. He didn't suck it up and be like, even though this blood is running in my eye, I'm not gonna show him I'm wounded. I'm not gonna show him it's bothering me. I'm gonna act like it's not there. That's the act of a champion. But he didn't.
Now this is where you can I elaborate on that a little bit, Storm? Because I like that talking point that you just see. This is where I gotta give dudes like Ali and Floyd credit. They're the only two boxers to me that had supreme confidence in and out the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember Ali first, underestimating Kenny Norton in their first fight. And he got his jaw broken. And Ali still had to fight and go on all the way up until the end of the fight with a broken jaw. And you see Drew Brown, Dini go to the corner, Ali. You all right, champ? He said, no, I think it's broken. He said, how you know it's broken? He said, how you know it's broken? It make a sound, champ. Ali, yo, I gotta give him credit, yo. You know who else I gotta give credit in recent memory? Well, let me give credit to Floyd because I remember in that Emmanuel Burton fight specifically, he told his uncle, he whispered in his ear, he whispered in Roger's ear. That's something I would have did. I would have been like, yo, come in. Because I wouldn't have want nobody to record, what I'm saying, or whatever. But I would have told them like it's broken and that's basically what he told Roger. He said, I ain't gonna quit though. He said, and then Roger said, I know you ain't gonna quit. I know you ain't gonna quit. I know you ain't gonna quit. And Mayweather went and finished him with the other hand, with the leg. He messed up his right.
I'll add one more to it for you. Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard, in his first fight against Tommy Hearns, that's the fight he suffered the detached retina.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So guess what? We found out about the detached retina after the fight. So he had to fight Tommy, who could knock his head off clearly.
Yes. You're right.
One bad eye.
Yeah, okay? You're right. And I do gotta give Ray that. You're right. That was a good one, Storm.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you look at it and you're like, hey, wait a minute. When a champion sucks it up, it's like, hey, it's like nothing's wrong. It's like nothing's wrong. And again, these things can happen in non-title fights if guys face the proper opposition to test themselves, to see what they have. Let me put it like this. You have a prospect, you're turning pro, you're a fighter yourself. Let's just say your first 10 fights inside of that should be guys that you can handle pretty much easy. You get familiar with the fight game. You're out there under the lights, no headgear and stuff like that. Then it becomes phase 2, where you begin to learn certain things about yourself. You have to fight someone who can take you rounds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They got a solid chin, they got great conditioning. They might not be heavy fisted, and that's okay. But you need to be able to go beyond the rounds where you're stopping guys. You're going to find out a couple of things about that. You're going to find out, first of all, where you are with your conditioning. If your power carries later, you're going to find out what happens when someone just doesn't fall down, how it works on you psychologically. Okay. Then you get an opportunity to get the seasoning from your trainer, because your trainer is going to have to coach you through those other rounds, whether you're listening to your trainer or not. There are many factors that come into this, and it's all a part of the process for your growth. If you went 10 rounds and you outboxed the guy, you gave as well as you took, and you prevailed because you were the better man, that's growth. And it does something for your confidence. You see, that's what's important. And then after that, they put you on a curve where you learn that a guy may be a little more aggressive. Okay. So you're going to have to box your way through that. Okay. Then it may become a guy who runs all night from you. You got to hunt him down. See, these are things that you got to learn. And there are fighters that are out there that they can schedule you to fight, and you are in school when you're in these matches. It doesn't mean they're picking somebody to help you lose. No, it's to get you familiar with learning how to fight. Just because you got a power punch and you can knock a guy out don't mean you can fight. That just means you can hit. But boxing is more than learning how to hit. You got to not get hit. Huh? How about that? Not taking punches, not being able to evade a guy, make him have to come after you sometimes. But that's all a part of that process. And what you're seeing nowadays, you see guys being put in fights where they're just knocking guys out, knocking you. That's what I say. They get to a title fight, get a title. I'm worried about Shakur Stevenson because I felt like he needed about 5 more fights with different type of fighters before he acquired the belt. Well, he's a champion now. So guess what? You got to take training wheels off now. And there's guys out there that can test his mettle. There are guys out there that can test Tank Davis's mettle. But as long as they try to continue to put fighters like that in fights where they feel that they have advantages, that's where the upset happens. And remember, when they get upset by somebody that they thought on paper they shouldn't lose to, psychologically, it's more difficult to come back from that. But if you had tough fights where you had to grind it out, you might even got knocked down. You got up and you won. That's something that you put in now your experience toolbox. You understand? And yes, that's what we're not seeing from guys today.
I hear that. That was definitely a good. Yeah, it's definitely. I knew that. A lot of pros talk about it like that. You know what I mean? And they have their own little methods. You know what I mean? That they used to prep and get ready. They always would tell me about the psychological aspect, of going into a pro match. You know what I mean? Like after, maybe you had a good 6 fights and you probably dusted them all off. You know what I mean? You start actually fighting like a good 6 rounds. And then by your 8th fight, you do the 8 rounders. You know what I mean? You get paid more as you do more rounds too also. So, I know what's going. And then a lot of my old pro dudes, they also tell me too, like it is a little different with that headgear off and the shirt off. You know what I mean? It takes some time to get used to, and stuff like that, fighting like that. I was like, I didn't know something that little, was, because I also remember Andre Ward bringing that up too. He said like his 12th fight, it took him to really get used to it up until his 12th fight.
Yeah. And the thing about with Ward is he went rounds. You know, he still got stoppages and stuff like that, but his fights weren't just quick setups for him to just beat guys. And then when he entered that tournament, man, there was some killers in that tournament. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
facts.
So he came up out of there with a PhD. You understand? And that's great. But, you know, there was something else that I was going to say about this too, is that when you have these guys and they're tested like that, the confidence that comes from you being capable of handling yourself. See, at the end of the day, that's what you want to have. The fact that you can handle yourself. Because like in the gym, you may work on certain things, right? You have tactics that you work on or whatever. But you just mentioned a moment ago, like Floyd breaking his hand in the fight. How many guys spar and only spar throwing their left? How many guys work in the gym just working the left or whatever is their power hand? If they're southpaw, it'll be the right that they're holding, you know, out as their lead as the jab or whatever. So it's like the reason I'm mentioning that is this: when you create in your training as a regular part of your training that makes you uncomfortable, the better you're capable of handling when a situation arises in the ring. You could be jabbing a guy and hit something wrong and your elbow go funny or your wrist or whatever, and you be like, man, I don't want to throw my jab that much more. So if you've worked in the gym where you weren't throwing your jab as much, you might have even turned southpaw in the gym and you sparred that way. You get familiar with the unfamiliar, so it makes you a complete fighter. That doesn't mean you have to fight southpaw. What that means is that you take on the understanding that if you've been placed in a situation of inconvenience, you can deal with it. You can weather the storm. Remember, it's one fight, and you have to win a fight round by round. You know, you don't win a fight in a round. See, and so your opponent doesn't have to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So you give them different looks, you give them a different feel, and also you can play the game of taking play away or being aggressive. You can get extra close to the guy, or you can make sure you keep a certain distance. So when he does do something, you got enough distance to counter and still be safe and things like that. It is a full education for the whole time that you're doing it in the sport, because at any given fight, a situation can arise, and now you have to deal with this and overcome.
Okay. I also agree with you on that aspect. I do that a lot. I always was able to switch. I actually write with both hands, so I always like switched and did stuff like that. I also, you know, me, you know, I like to do the thing in the gym that I hate the most. That's what my uncle used to tell me. You know what I mean? So I run a lot. You know what I mean? And things like that. So been running shadow boxing a lot. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, I move some rounds, but I try to make sure that it's dudes that I know ain't really been, you know what I mean, traveling and messing around, you know, and stuff like that, because, you know, I gotta go to work, you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm definitely in agreements with you with things like that. I wanted to talk about a potential matchup that might
Hold
happen.
on, before you go to that, Ak, I just wanted to have one reply to what you just said. 4 aspects of training that if a fighter is dedicated to it, he can go far.
Okay.
You run, run. Keep that wind up, jump rope. Okay. Both of those are essential. Then shadow boxing. Shadow box 10, 15 rounds. Okay. Because what that is, you're moving, you're letting your hands go. You see, it's important because that's what you do in a fight. And then lastly, sparring. But the sparring has to be quality sparring. And you're not just in there shaking it out with a guy or whatever, but you spar with certain intents. Sometimes you're working on your defensive ability. Sometimes you're working on getting your body punches in. It always has to have some type of plan as far as what you're doing in there. Not going in there to bang a guy out or have a guy bang you out. You have to learn about the contact. You can learn where shots are least effective to you, how as far as judging your distance. If you're smart in your sparring, okay, you can learn where a guy, if it's a particular guy, if he's got heavy hands, his hands might be heavy, but according to the approximation that you are with him in the ring, there may be a danger zone and then a not so danger zone. So you have to figure out where that is. And that's where quality sparring comes in. And when you do these things, they're essential to building yourself. You know what I mean? And that should never be forgotten as far as how you go about your work. Now you wanted to go ahead.
Yeah. Appreciate the wisdom. Appreciate the wisdom. It's like you coaching them in the chat. So
Yeah, absolutely.
salute to my brother Monty Brown. Didn't mean to, and I see you, Ron Fink. I see you, Ron Fink. You in the chat heavy. I do want to see Michaela Meyer come back and be able to compete. I want to see her against what's her name? Can't think of her name right now. Alicia Baumgartner. That's what I'm thinking about. I think that would be a good fight at 130. But yeah, I wanted to ask you your opinion. You know what I mean? It's another case that we might have to take to trial. We got a potential fight with Earl and Danny Garcia, man. Because they've been talking about it a lot, I kind of really want to see it now. Now I really want to see it now. So now, Earl, you know what I mean? I might have to hold you to that, bro. I kind of really want to see that fight, man. You know what I mean? I think that actually is going to be a good one. I think Danny's going to really train hard for that. Danny never really looks too fat. He gets like a little bulkier at a camp, but it never be too crazy to where he can't, come back down. So I got to give Danny credit in that aspect. You know what I mean? But what you think about that whole fight? That potential matchup.
Well, because of the layoff, both guys, it's going to be iffy on how you can really call it, as opposed to if they were, regularly, active and stuff like that. Because this whole situation has, it's going to come down to who got themselves together and carried themselves together during this time off. But Danny is a dangerous opponent for the simple fact that he's a fighter that fights with good to great timing.
Yes.
Earl has he's allowed himself to fight his opponent's fights a lot. But you have to be careful with that, because the old adage has been like this: you box a slugger and you slug with a boxer, okay? Depending on which one you are and which one you're facing and stuff like that. And Earl, over his last couple of fights, has elected to fight the opponent's fight. With Sean Porter, he wanted to stand in there and fight Sean and give and take and things like that. With Mikey Garcia, he elected to box Mikey, and I felt like he should have just went in there and took Mikey out, because Mikey was insulting and he was disrespectful in his thoughts, having to be in there with someone like that. You're supposed to smash those kind of guys to let them know, to send a message to the rest of the fight world that you ain't playing. But to go in there and say, oh, I want to put on this great display of boxing. No, you were supposed to box Sean Porter. You see, he was supposed to blitz Mikey Garcia. So now with Danny Garcia, Danny is the opportunist. Remember the Amir Khan fight? He was patient enough to wait around till he got his shot in there on him. And the thing about with Danny is he's not giving credit for one thing That sucker can take a punch. Danny can take a shot. I've seen him hit with some stuff. Even when he fought Keith Thurman, he got hit with some stuff and he didn't go nowhere. A guy who can take it is going to be there. And that means that Earl going to have to be in shape. And I'm not questioning if he is. I'm just giving pointers. We're talking about the fight. He's going to have to be in shape. And he's got to be prepared that because he hits Danny a good shot, he may not go anywhere. So what do you do after that? Yeah, you got to get your body work in and everything, but you do understand that Earl's transition from offense to defense isn't as smooth as you would like it to be. So if he's going in there to get into Danny's body, he might catch a counter. And then how he going to respond to that? So it's like, it's a great fight. I think Earl should be favored, definitely. But Danny could present some problems. And remember this, Earl is a unified champ now. So if a guy like Danny, who's a former champion, feels that he's undefeated, which he does, he may go in there looking at this like, this is my time. I take these belts from this chump. Look at what, they're going to give to me as far as accolades and everything. And they will. Because that whole thing about countrymen and stuff comes into play. So this is going to be something that it's the kind of fight that should stoke the flames for Earl's desire to prove himself in the sport. Not that he hasn't proven anything. So I don't want anybody to say, oh, he talking about Earl ain't proven himself. No, that's not what I'm saying. But you have to find something else to fight for than money. Okay? And that's why I'm always talking about legacy. Old guys, when you talk about legacy, when somebody wants to prove to the world, okay, that's something that the opponent may not necessarily be able to measure. You understand? It's what drives a man. Ali proved that over and over again through his career with the various challenges he had. Yeah, he was the most paid fighter in his generation, and everything, but he found ways to motivate himself. You know what I mean? And stay on top and remain on top. It's not just being confident saying I'm the best, but you have to find a reason why, because each and every challenge is different. So Danny has the understanding of what it means. If he defeats Earl Spence, what would that do for his career? It'll wipe away those other losses he has, even though, like I said, he feel like he hasn't lost because his decisions were close. But he goes in there and beats Earl, man, it'd be like he didn't lose on paper as well as how people would look at it. So Earl has to find some motivating factor other than, I'm a champ and, I'm the best or whatever. You got to dig deep and prove that. You got to turn back that tide, so that's how I see it. And it like I said, he should be favored, but it's a very interesting fight, especially if Danny has found motivation.
Okay. Lawrence Williams is in the building. Salute to Law. And then Ron Finkley said, Danny Garcia does have great fundamentals, but Spence, woo-wee. And then he said, this is a 70-30 fight. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Only because of the car accident and stuff and everything, it's kind of unpredictable. I say it could be 50-50 right now, but I still favor Earl. That's with respect. Though. Because all of the stuff that Stormy B just presented, was very good evidence as far as I'm concerned. And I think that Danny Garcia, he has a chance. You crazy to think that he doesn't have a chance. You know what I mean?
Do you know, Act, that most fighters, when they go into a fight, they're looking at the opponent's weaknesses to capitalize on them. But I have a different philosophy.
You look at their strengths.
Their strengths and how their strengths, when they're prepped towards you, how you are able to deal with those strengths. because you always have to look at it as you're facing a guy at his best. Okay. So if you're looking at his weaknesses, but when you get in there, you find none that you thought you saw or perceived to be, what's your next plan? But if you're looking at his strengths and how you can counter those strengths or prevail against those strengths or make them minimalized, then you're working with something. You see? And that's the way it is. You go into it with the understanding that, yeah, this is, this guy is this, or he's able to do that well, or whatever. And that's going to be a mountain to climb, but I can climb it. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing.
Pardon me. And I think that too. I think that it's not no landslide at all. Earl throws a lot of punches. Danny's good at countering when someone's punching and, setting up a counter also. Danny is really, really, really good with that. He has very good eyes. Remember what Keith Thurman said after they fight? He said, I was surprised how good his eyes was. Even in the Sean Porter fight. Remember what round was it at the end of the day at Sean Porter and Danny Garcia fight? And y'all remember, like, Danny caught him with a crazy counter left hook at the end of the bell. I thought that was so, like, literally the bell said ding, and it said, like, he caught Sean Porter. It didn't even look like it was going to land. And it landed perfectly on the chin. He knows how to hide the left hooks. He said, people keep saying he throw a no-look left hook. The boy been boxing since he could box on the East Coast. You could box when you turn 10. On your 10th birthday.
He understands the simple principle in boxing. And this is something Earl is going to have to watch out for going forward, whether it's Danny or anyone else at the top level of the sport. The best time to hit somebody is when they're throwing punches. Because that's when
that to me was the only, and I'll admit that, Stormy. Any other time, I could take a shot. You know what I'm saying? The only time I even felt like a shot landed on me, and this was in sparring, never in the match, but it's sparring. My boy Jorge, when I first was getting my body back in shape and really, coming back and stuff. Like, me and him spar. He's like one of the first people I spar. He hit me with a right hand, boy. I went back to when I was 6, man. For real, I was thinking about Sonic the Hedgehog. And
yeah,
for real, man. It was while I was trying to punch him. It was while I was trying to punch him too. I said, "No, it ain't the punch you don't see," because I got been hit with a punch that I didn't see. I ate it, walked forward, came even harder, and hurt the dude. You know what I mean? But that one, when I threw the punch, man, I was so vulnerable. I couldn't protect myself. Couldn't move back, especially when you overcommit sometimes. When you throwing the lead hand and you hyperextend too much, you can't protect yourself. You can't get back.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you something. Talking about Danny, because remember, I have to talk about his strengths. His weaknesses is that he's very flat-footed, okay? But he's not afraid of contact either. You see, that's another aspect you have to look at. Guys usually, some fighters will tell you, and it shows on how they fight. They don't like contact. And what that means is that don't mean they're afraid or whatever, but they try to get out of the way and things like that when it's not necessary, when you may have to, draw your line in the sand and make certain that you're able to execute something under a plan. Danny, he's patient. He'll wait. You might take some rounds from him. But then when he see that opportunity and he let it go, it's like, boom, okay. And
we don't be hitting light neither. That's Sean Porter. I'm telling you, man, I don't remember what round. I think it was the 5th or the 6th round. It was literally at the bell. He caught Sean Porter. I was like, oh my God. He turned his whole, you see how Earl turned his whole head around too when he caught him in the 11th? I remember that round because I said he was going to get dropped. That fight played out exactly how I thought it would. I said
And I'll
Sean
tell you
Porter's gonna
something.
be there and he gonna get dropped and Earl gonna win. I thought it was gonna be, was it? It was a split decision.
I think so. I don't remember the scorecards, but I'll tell you this though. He got away with, and I'm speaking of Earl here in that fight with Porter. He got away with a lot of low blows in that fight. And if you don't think that did something to Porter late in the fight, even that where that punch that ended up being a flash knockdown, whatever.
So you think he low blow? You think
maybe it doesn't have the same effect if all those earlier low blows didn't land like they did. And remember, there was no points taken. And I'm not, again, I'm calling it like it really is. It's like, yeah, that was tactical and a strategy, because you do that. If you can get away with it, you do it, right? But again, there are certain fighters, you can try that, but you're going to pay. And there are certain fighters that, remember, going in, everybody considered Porter the dirty fighter, right? They did. They said, oh, he comes in with his head, he throws elbows, he throws low or whatever. But I remember Earl hitting him low a lot, a hell of a lot. And
Stormy, are you acute? I see you, Lawrence Williams. I see you. He said Porter was a UD. Key fight was a split. Okay, so that one was unanimous. All right, so yeah, like I called it. The Earl in that one. All right, yeah, but yeah, man.
No, you were asking.
I thought the Trunks was really high, in my opinion. I thought the Trunks was really high. You know what I mean? This is what I mean by we got to start having them old school trainer that's going to be like, yo, my boy got to work in there. You know what I mean? Could you have him pull those down? Like real
Absolutely.
talk? I'm going to say it if my trainer don't. That's how I'm coming.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
and I'll tell you something.
Because sometimes I feel like that attributes sometimes to the low blows and stuff. I don't think that it was intentional or anything like that. Just like, but I understand, that's your point of view. I'm not mad at you.
So no. What I was going to say, and what I would have done had I been working in Sean's corner, I would have pulled his trunks down. I would have pulled them down where you could see just a little line of the protective cup at the top of the trunk. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to draw the attention of the ref if there are legitimate. There were a few legitimates, and then there were some that were on the belt line and everything. But remember, it's like these are the type of things that your trainer can take control of if you and like I said, late in the fight, after absorbing a few of those, man, it's your legs you're not the same as you were, early on. So, but hey, man, I had said after that fight, before going into that fight, I said this is the type of fight between Porter and Spence that you could see a rematch happening because it's that good of a fight, and it was every bit. It was.
It really was. I agree 100% with you, brother. I agree 100%. What you think is next on the horizon? Because I know you were Terrence Crawford, man. I've been wanting to bring him up on charges. You know what I mean? I've been wanting to, man. But none of my people brought the case to me. I couldn't give them a search warrant. I didn't sign off on anything. To bring him.
I'm not sure.
But he didn't do that good with me, Machine. I'm going to bang the gavel on you. I might hold you in contempt for that, Crawford, because that was really a knockdown. No. I'm going to hold you in contempt for that, Crawford. Yeah, I felt like you got dropped.
Well, he got dropped. He got dropped, but remember it like this. The ref didn't call it a knockdown.
Oh, my God.
Listen.
Come on, man.
Listen is what I have to say.
Go ahead.
Just as, like, when Porter got hit with that shot from Earl, his glove barely touched the canvas, barely. And the ref started counting and this and that. We've seen fights where the ref missed a knockdown and everything like that. I never said Bud didn't get dropped. He did. He got dropped. But I also said that guys get dropped. He gets up and knocked the dude out. So it's like, if he was hurt and he started moving around and he was, like trying to survive and all of that. No, he turned the heat up even more. And what happened when Mean Machine got knocked down? Mean Machine got up from the first knockdown and looked at him like, oh shit, I done woke this dude up. And he went night-night shortly after that. But I love to see fighters challenged and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because the resiliency that shows. He get knocked down. He knew he was knocked down, and he turned up the heat on the dude. He was fighting a funny kind of fight at first that gave the guy opportunities. Because I'm going to tell you something. The guy knew he couldn't outbox Crawford. So he was laying in wait and letting Crawford come in.
I agree with that.
And was knocking the shit out of him with shots, running him into stuff. Then Bud, when he took that little bit of a knockdown on his knee and everything, and he gets up, he was like, I can't fight like this no more. I got to get it. You know? Yeah, exactly. He made an adjustment. But when guys get knocked down, usually if it's a real solid knockdown, that's when you see the fight begin. Because when he gets up, how is he going to make the adjustments and everything? It'll happen, man. It'll happen. Remember when Porter got knocked down by AB? That was unexpected.
That was pretty.
Yeah, it was unexpected.
Real quick, Storm, if you don't mind, let me get in this chat real quick. He said Ron Finkley said T-Bud back on Twitter watching MMA fishing. Who T-Bud gonna fight? I guess he was talking to you, Storm. Damn, 503 Lion, my brother. He said, let me know when Crawford gonna fight somebody. Oh my God. Are y'all so we all gonna take him to court. Oh, I should have been in the chat. He said Floyd from Zab. I guess you talk about with the low blows or whatever. Salute to my bro Monty too. He said the Black Bandits Stormy B is in the building. Respect you, brother. Salute Black Bandit. And then, oh God, hey, I know Kurt. Hold on, my fault. Kurt Sanders said Crawford's skill set is better than anybody else's. I gotta think about that one. All right, yeah, that on me. You know what? I ain't gonna get into it. Let me finish the comments. He said, Lawrence Williams said, Act, you would have hated Tito Trinidad then because he got dropped a lot early. I remember that as a kid. I know he got dropped a lot. That's why when they was talking about him against Terry Norris in fantasy fights, I said, no. You know what I mean? Terry Norris always came 110%. Always, even in the loss. I promise you, they both easy to get dropped, but I think Terry Norris would have dropped him first. I don't care what y'all say. Terry Norris is my dog. That's my OG right there. I'll be honest with y'all. Y'all know who I be watching as far as 80s dudes? I ain't even going to deny it. I watch a lot of Terry Norris fights. Yup, when he was winning. I'm biased. I don't care. Black Bandit said, Act, reach your respect to you too, bro. Respect, bro. Is that it? He said, but you hating on Bud getting dropped by Lawrence, don't start, Lord, leave it alone, Lord. Me and Stormy is just clowning right now. He even stole little jabs at Spencer's an early March Pisces. I had to defend him. What was I supposed to do? I would have did the same thing for any of y'all, man. I had to, man. That's my dude right there. And I really feel like he gonna win the fight, though. All joking aside, I really feel like Earl. I feel like when they sitting in the middle and in the pocket, I feel like that's something that Crawford doesn't specialize in, like Spence do. In that middle, you know what I mean? Everything else, yeah. But Earl is a specialist in the pocket. Earl is in Texas. I gotta admit, they specialize. I think that's gonna be his downfall when they get right there in the middle round. I don't think he's gonna be able to deal with that. I don't think he's gonna be able to live with that. And
There's
then the
nothing that
gavel
says
gonna
that
get
he's going to
banged.
be in the pocket.
You're right. You're right. We'll see. We'll see. Spence is one of the best at cutting off the ring.
Do you remember what Freddie Roach said about Terrence Crawford early on when they were talking about years ago?
Yeah, I remember when they
Pacquiao
came
fighting
in
him. He basically said that Crawford is the guy that concerns him because everything that Floyd could do, Crawford could possibly do as far as boxing wise. And the fact that his skill set is very high, then he can switch. It makes him very formidable because he's got great feet, he's got great hand speed, and again, he's not afraid of contact. He knows he's going to get hit at points. But the thing about it is, remember what we talk about. The best time to hit a guy is when he's trying to hit you. And if you get the angle on a guy with a punch that he don't see, funny things can happen. And you know, one last thing about Bud Crawford, and this is not a Bud Crawford love fest. It's just speaking on if it were him or anyone.
Storm, I know you come in.
He's a finisher. He's a finisher. So it's like if a mistake is made, don't think that he doesn't have the IQ as well as the spirit and things like that to make some other things happen if he, if an opportunity presents itself. But I don't think that fight comes down to size, strength, power. It comes down to boxing IQ, and it comes down to who can outsmart the other guy. When you have top class fighters at that level, it's the guy typically who doesn't bring the IQ up to the level where it needs to be. That usually is on the oust of that. So it's a great fight. I want to see it. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't hurt my feelings either way, which guy wins. But I know one thing, you guys that out there that love Earl Spence, you guys talk about him like he's, better than Sugar Ray Robinson or something. And
No.
I mean, don't take that. Listen, don't take that personal, Act. I'm saying the guys out there, because there are guys out there that talk about him like he has no flaws. He told you all recently in an interview that he wasn't doing the things he should be doing as far as like in the gym, and he's taking certain things for granted. After the car crash, he revealed some things on his own merit. So again, that's the beginning of turning.
Lomachenko do that all the time. Lomachenko take the stand all the time.
What I'm saying is that's the beginning of turning a corner for himself to be admitted, like, you know what? I've been kind of like doing some goofy stuff. Let me, tighten things up, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. But it takes it coming from him, because if you listen to what he's saying, he's being honest. And I see these things and have seen them before. There were other people ignoring those things. But at the same time, remember, I've seen quite a few fights, and sometimes people give flowers before it's time. It's like, we got to see some stuff. I think the fight with Porter was the first step, but he needs to fight all the rest of those guys. And I said this in many different occasions in talking in streams about the fights. If those guys, Porter, Thurman, Crawford, Spence, Garcia, if they all fought each other, nobody comes out of that undefeated. Nobody.
Okay.
Because styles make fights, and different things will factor in the fight, the intangibles that you would never know about going in and after coming out. But I'm telling you, if those guys all fought each other, nobody's coming out undefeated.
Okay, let me get in this chat real quick, Storm. Law said, oh, okay, I was about to bang the gavel on you. Wait, first off, Law, you can't bang the gavel on the judge. That's not how this thing works, Law. Don't get me wrong. After the show, then we can talk about it. You can't. Come on, Law. That's messed up, man. That's messed up, man. You funny. Nah, shout out to Law. Shout out to Lois Williams. He said, Michaela Meyer tested positive for corona. Fight off. Wow, she did. See, wow. Oh, man. They give me a test at my job every Wednesday. Put the stick up your nose, man. I gotta bang the gavel on whoever bought the COVID over here. No, I hate that. I'm gonna be honest with you. The shit gave me a headache. I'm like, yo, I'm used to the stick going up the nose because of fighting and stuff, but still, bro, like they don't put it all the way up there to pinch your brain. Like this is ridiculous. Are we gonna have to do this from now on? Like, is it here to stay? Like, damn, man. He said, damn. Kurt said Porter's footwork was giving Spence problems. Earl's transition from offense to defense is not good. Oh, okay. Oh, Kurt. Come on, Kurt. Come on, Kurt. Crawford beat Spence. Oh my God. This is oh my goodness. Oh my God. They bringing Spence up on charges, y'all. I hate to admit it. They bringing.
Hey, he's a human being, bro. He's a human being.
I did say that. If people wanted it. So do I have to do a separate video in the trial of Earl Spence? I don't know. The people gotta vote though. It can't just be Storm and Kurt Anderson. And it would have to be a lot more. You know, we got Lawrence. I think he was saying that. Oh, my fault, Mark Wunderlich. Yeah, so you got to comment more. I almost missed a salute, Mark. My fault. Salute, bro. My OG.
Hey, read that comment 503 just wrote.
Yeah. Yo, 503, where you at, champ? I was about to say, man. He said, we all know who EJ fighting next. Who is Bud fighting? Thank you.
Go back before that. Go back.
Oh, he said, oh, dag. I didn't even know. Oh, the Stormy. Oh, sorry. I didn't even see that. Dag. Stormy EJ has let all the skeletons out the closet and still is fighting better competition than Bud.
And facts. After that, because you still ain't read the one I wanted you to read.
Oh, Stormy says Earl has to fight all these killers. Meanwhile, Bud can fight another meme machine. That's crazy. That one?
Exactly.
Okay.
When did I say that? See how people can put a twist and play on words? Man, I'm 55 years old, bro. Check it out. I never said that. I said that if they all fought each other. Didn't I say that? I said if they all fought each other, nobody's coming out of that undefeated. Then to say that he has to fight all these killers. Those are your words, 503. You calling them killers. So why not they fight each other? If they all killers, they need to fight each other. Why fight easy opposition? If you put Bud in that group, he's fighting the others, right? So I didn't say Bud excluded from the group. I included his name in the group. And I personally feel that's who should be fighting. All of them fighting each other. And on standby, Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz should be waiting on standby when they get through round robin with each other. That's what should be happening. I don't want to see them fighting mean machines and stuff like that. I never said that. I want to see them fighting each other because like when Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, and Tommy Hearns was fighting each other, everybody won in fights that you never expected. Ray beat Hagler unexpectedly. Tommy Hearns knocked out Roberto Duran. Ray beat Tommy Hearns, and Tommy Hearns got knocked out by Hagler. It's like those fights went different ways. You could going in, you might have had your favorite or whatever, but they were all spectacular matches. They were all great geared up fights. And Roberto Duran went 15 rounds with Marvin Hagler. 15. Ray Leonard didn't even want to give Hagler a 15-round fight. He asked for the 12-round fight, or it's no deal. So it's like these guys, round robin, and they are legends in the annals of history as a result of having fought each other. And all of the fights went different ways. So that's the point that I was trying to make. If these guys fight each other, you would see similar situations because somebody is going to be somebody that you didn't expect, and then somebody's going to knock somebody the fuck out, and then somebody is going to persevere in a manner which I didn't know he had that in him. But you won't know until these guys test each other. They have to test each other. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Let me get in the chat. The Boxing King said, "What's up, Act Stormy? Did you hear about Conor retiring? Do you guys think Mayweather retired Conor?" That's a good question.
I don't care
We'll talk about that after. Yeah, me either.
I don't care about that dude.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Who is T-Bug gonna fight? That's what Ron Finkley asking. Terrence Crawford versus the Hamburglar Man next. I can't mess with you. I ain't messing with Ron. He said, our fella said greetings from the north side. And then my boy Renee Boxyoung salute. He said, big axe, Stormy B salute. It's a jab Stormybman right now. And then he shouted out Kurt. He said, just gross over El Campo was a nice or something, but trash Mean Machine when he was top 10. I mean, El Campo was a mandatory though. We can't. Come on, Lawrence. We can't do that. Come on, Lord. If you go bring evidence to the court, man. Come on, Lord. We can't do that. I'm about to hold you in contempt, man. Don't do that.
I bet you one thing, though. I bet you one thing, Act. If one of those guys wanted to fight Bud Crawford, I bet you he'd fight him.
Oh yeah, Mean Machine was a man though too. You right. I wasn't talking bad about Mean Machine though. I never said that. I'm just saying that Mean Machine knocked him down. I wasn't talking about. I didn't think Mean Machine was trash because I watched Mean Machine before that. That's where he got the name Green Beans because we knew about him already.
Yeah, the thing about that too is that he had a strategy. And it almost worked, okay? His strategy was to try to nail Crawford coming in. And it didn't work. It is like he did everything he could, including getting a knockdown. But that was it. Once he knocked Bud down, Bud turned the heat up on him after that because Bud was embarrassed. He got up. He wasn't hurt from the knockdown, but he was embarrassed, and he got up and he took care of business. He made an adjustment, and a couple of rounds later, the dude was out of there. So it's like, that's what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? But the guy had kind of strategy.
Could I ask you though, Storm?
Yeah.
Whose resume is better to you at welterweight though?
Porter's?
Like as far as
Porter.
No, I'm talking about as far as Earl and Terrence Crawford. You know, because honestly, Earl
edges it with two fights: the fight with Kell Brook and the fight with Sean Porter. But everyone else that came before that, it's on par. But Kell Brook and Sean Porter make Earl edge out because he won the championship from Kell Brook, and he defended and unified a belt from Sean Porter, who had the best resume out of all of them at welterweight. So, yeah, those two fights edge him at that weight. But Bud's accomplishments before moving to that weight are at those other weights. It doesn't indicate the same type of measure for being at, welterweight.
Can I ask you another question?
I will say this, and I'll end that remark with this. He has stopped everybody he has fought. You can't take that away from him. It's not like he went out there and looked lackluster and struggled and stuff. He stopped everybody that he fought so far. So will he stop these guys when he starts to fight them? That'll be exciting to see. We'll have to see. But he's capable. He's very much capable.
Okay. So can I ask you another question?
Sure.
And after I ask you this question, could you just hold it down for like a few seconds? I just want to use the bathroom real quick.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. But I just want to know, who do you respect? I'm talking about at welterweight that Bud fought. I want to know who only the welterweight people that he fought. I'm only talking about welterweight. I want to know who out of those guys, out of Jeff Horn, out of Jose Benavidez Jr., out of Mean Machine, out of Mir Khan, who do you really hold in high regard? Who do you respect? And let the people know. And I'm gonna come right back, y'all.
Okay. The person that I hold the high regard for at welterweight that Bud defeated, and it was based on fanfare going into the fight, would be Amir Khan. Because most people, when the fight was made, most people, and even brothers out here in the LDBC, were saying that Amir Khan is going to be a tough fight for Bud. They were saying that Amir Khan could be a trap fight for Bud. They were saying that Amir Khan could be seen winning several rounds and Bud having to come back and stop him later or whatever, because Amir Khan had fast hands, he could box very well, and that his chin was iffy, but they could see him getting out front. I never saw any of that at all. I always looked at it as this guy's going to be cannon fodder for Bud because of the skill set that Bud brought, the confidence that he brought as a champion, and the fact that he was ready to prove himself with a performance. And so when Amir Khan came out in the very first round against the fight with Bud Crawford, Amir usually, he comes out, he likes to throw his combinations that, he throw it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. And the first time he did it, Bud threw punches with him. And, he was like, okay. And then he jumped in there again. And shortly before the round ended, Bud had him on the canvas. And it was like, he immediately knew, Amir Khan I'm speaking of right now, he immediately knew he couldn't beat Bud Crawford because Bud faced him with something that he hadn't seen. And that was that Bud punched with him right away, right off the bat. He took the hand speed away. He took confidence away. He took being able to think under pressure away because things were happening more fast than Amir Khan could adjust to. And so therefore, after that, a couple of rounds of that, he didn't want any more, really, but he was in a position he had to fight. So when that punch hit him on the thigh and he was able to claim like it was low or something like that, Virgil Hunter helped him out of the fight by saying, hey, you want to stop or whatever. He's like, oh, I got hit low. But the replay clearly showed that the punch hit him in his upper thigh and nowhere near the center area of the protector. So the thing that I saw out of that was people took note that Amir Khan could not do anything. It was going to lead to a KO. It was undoubtedly that, but he took the play away from him in the very first round. And that was something because people were talking about, we could see Bud start slow and this and that. He started fast as hell, faster than Amir Khan could say, I don't want no more. So it's like, that's the fight that I feel was the fight that kind of made people take note. And it's not that, oh, Amir Khan was so great. It was the thought that people had for Amir Khan being able to challenge Bud at the weight and in that fight. But I will say this also, the Jeff Horn fight, how he took the fight away from Jeff Horn. He banged the body, he broke him down, and Jeff Horn, he was probably happy to get the hell up out of there.
I want to comment on that, man.
Yeah,
let me go real quick. So
after going through all of that, Bud just made it look like he was on this level and Jeff Horn was on this level, even though Jeff Horn was able to get a decision over Pacquiao, which I don't think he beat Pacquiao myself, but it was a hometown thing and all of that kind of foolishness. But again, he took the play away from that guy. And remember, there were a lot of guys at welterweight when Horn beat Pacquiao was like, I want him. I want Jeff Horn. I want Jeff Horn. But Bud got the fight. They weren't calling for Bud like they was calling for Horn. So it's like, come on, man. But anyway, those are my thoughts on that. and how that all
Okay.
went
Um, I I didn't know the Bud when he did that Amir Khan fight. I looked at him as a career criminal. So I'm gonna bang the gavel on that because I didn't like that. You charged us a pay-per-view fee, and I didn't think it was worth it. I was upset. I was upset. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Nah, he not getting away with that one. And we might have to bring him up on charges if we're gonna bring Earl up on charges.
down.
Because
Hey,
that
how
was
about this? How about this?
but wait, hold on, Store. I don't want to lose my point. I got you. Just
Okay,
please.
go ahead.
I just want to, you know what I mean? I I will agree that to me the only guy I'm gonna give him credit for is just like what my brother Oddfella said, the Jeff Horn thing when you was stating at the end, because Jeff Horn beat Pacquiao. And I did that. I'm one of the people that think that he did beat him. Pacquiao was supposed to knock him out in the ninth. Pacquiao kind of faded a bit, you know what I mean, after that. And Jeff Horn started really picking up. Don't get me wrong. He was holding on for dear life, even though he did beat Pacquiao. I'm not saying it was easy, but I'm one of the people that personally believe that Jeff Horn got that. So I'm going to give him that. And I also think that Jeff Horn, you know what I mean? I think Jeff Horn, if he would have stayed at welterweight, he would have been better off. I don't think 154 really for him. But yeah, go ahead, Son. My fault.
No, I was gonna say you might have to bang the gavel again for the fact that Horn beat Pacquiao and then Thurman loses to Pacquiao. We thought Thurman originally was the man that won welterweight a few years back, remember? So he gets his ass whooped by Pacquiao, but Jeff Horn wins.
I hate that clown. I hate that clown Keith Thurman, man. I banged the gavel yesterday just how he got his wife, how he acquired his wife.
Oh,
He took my man Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? With the Naple in the bar. I'm mad.
Yeah.
We bad, but back to Bud. I don't want to take my. That was. I don't care, Bud. That was criminal, bro. That and the fight wasn't even good like that. It really wasn't. You can say whatever you want about Earl. That fight was entertaining with him and Sean Porter. Because he actually fought somebody. That's what I mean. Even if, you know what I mean, it's only two dudes that he fought. In those two fights, that Kell Brook fight when Earl broke his eye, it was entertaining to watch. Earl is an entertaining fighter. Don't get me wrong. Bud Crawford, you know what fight was entertaining to me? It wasn't the Jeff Horn fight. It wasn't the Amir Khan fight. I love the Jose Benavidez Jr. fight. I can't bang the gavel on you with that. I would never bring you up on charges for that fight. Even though Benavidez wasn't popular like that, the build up when he came, when the sisters was talking trash, the Benavidez family, and then Bud came to him working out in the gym on some old school Muhammad Ali when he did it to George Foreman. And you know what I mean, it was dope, man. I like it when people get innovated and do stuff like that, or like Shannon Briggs was trying to antagonize Vladimir Klitschko and get a fight a few years back. So I like things like that, you know what I mean, because you know what I mean, that's real old school to me. And I thought that fight, the spectacle of that fight, and the actual fight was entertaining, even though it took Bud a little while to get a man that got shot in the leg. I'm just saying, I heard Spence had footage of punishing him in sparring. Jose Benavidez Jr. I'm just saying. I know it's sparring, but that's just what I heard. You know what I mean? That's just what I heard.
Before you went for your restroom break, you had asked me which fight did I think was the fight that meant, you know, something for Crawford having, you know, arrived at welterweight. And I said the Amir Khan fight, because the sentiment of the community going into the fight was that Khan was going to present problems to him, and he didn't. It actually looked like a pretty, you know, good win, or he was on his way to a good win when Virgil Hunter helped him get out of the fight. But the second fight would have been the Horn fight because of how he broke him down. Remember, Horn was a larger, more physical guy, but was fresh at the weight. And first round or two, that strength kind of looked apparent, but he was able to do the things he needed to do necessary to break Horn down and end up getting a stoppage. And remember, I said each fight has been a stoppage at the weight for him. And now he's totally acclimated at the weight. He's a welterweight now.
Yeah, I agree.
He might not be as big as some guys at the welterweight, like a Ugas or a Spence or something like that, but he is a true welterweight now. And I'm going to tell you something. Bud got knockout punch power. He does. And people don't want to respect that. But
I think it's deceptive power.
Well, I'll tell you something. Long and reedy guys like him, if they punch him with proper technique and everything, just like Tommy Hearns was, you know, they can get positive results, man. Positive results. And he's accurate. Very accurate. You know, that knockout punch that he landed on Ndongo was a solar plexus shot. And he threw it when Ndongo was throwing those wide looping punches like he does. He stepped inside and let it go. And the guy, he went down, he couldn't get up, he couldn't breathe. He nailed him a shot. And that's what happens to guys who have that type of ability, you know, like Crawford has. I don't sleep on that at all, man. But it's great that you have guys at that weight that could be rivals. What's not great is they're not fighting each other. And I'm going to tell you something. It's been 2 years already. How many more years is going to be, because we got this delay with this thing and all of that. But it's like, I just want to see the guys fight, man. I don't care who wins. The boxing fans win. When you put those type of fights on, Earl, when he fought Porter, didn't boxing win that night? That's your proof in the pudding right there.
I just only thing, look, but you could do whatever you want. Just don't be asking us to pay for dudes like Amir Khan, and I won't have to bring you up on no charges, because that's not $80. And if you is going to do that, let it be ESPN Plus at least. Don't be charging no separate $80 on some UF. Man, anyway, next topic. How you feel about Floyd Mayweather being the trainer? We're going to end it with that, and then we're going to close out, Storm. I appreciate you. This was fun.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate you for having me, bro. The thing about it, if Floyd wants to be a trainer, if he's going to be serious like Roger, then, hey, the sport could use him. But if he's doing it just to keep himself out there as another figure in the sport and having another way or avenue to keep his name thriving and things like that, then, you know, I don't really care for that, because there are a number of trainers who should get more notoriety as it is. But typically guys like that, they're not able to pass their ability on to proteges. So he has the knowledge. He could tell guys and put guys up on game with the sport, and even game on fighting. But will he be able to do that? Because he's such a selfish individual. He's selfish, man. And sometimes that could be a detriment in the learning process. You know, he might have a guy he could be working with and get frustrated that the guy can't do something the way he wants him to do it, and may not stick to him, may not stick with him and pull him through the process. If he's capable of doing that, if he's interested in doing that, more power to him. The sport can use it. But if it's the other part that I suggest, that, and I do really feel that he's selfish, I'd rather see someone else.
Okay. Me personally, I agree with with what you said, because I think that you wanting to train because of your father. I mean, sorry, not father. Well, he said father too, and his uncle. mostly. And he want to take that step into becoming a trainer. I like that. I think that that's a positive way. I feel like that's how he could make up for being such a shitty promoter. Excuse my language. I would actually like to see if he could get some W's and wins off of being a real trainer. And do you think that he'll take it serious, or do you think that he'll eventually like venture off?
The one thing that can make him take it serious is that whoever he's working with, whether it's Devin Haney or Tank Davis or whoever he may be working with, if they are able to go out there and do some things that he presented to them in the gym, and you got lightning quick results, meaning like in their very next fight, you saw an advance in their ability because of some things that he's been showing and working with them. If it's like that, then I could see him wanting to take interest even more. But is he at heart a teacher and trainer? I don't know. The jury is still out on that. I would like to think that it's not more than it is, because you have to have the temperament to work with people, not to dominate people, not to be better than people, but to want to help people along through the process. Roger was excellent at that, and even his dad is very good with it, because when his dad worked with Oscar De La Hoya, Oscar was fighting a lot better under
He was.
his dad.
He was. That's a fact.
Exactly. So it's like he has to have that to be able to transfer what he's trying to teach and explain to his protege, so the protege, giving him tools, can go out and do what he needs to do and see positive results. So, but like I said, right now the jury is still out on it. But I would like to be wrong, but I don't think I am, because at the end of the day, this is what he's shown us consistently over his career. It's about him. It's about him, you know. So I don't know, but that may just be something that runs in his family, because his dad is very egotistical too.
Yeah.
So, but he's a good trainer. So maybe it could be. But yeah, I'll tell you this other thing, and just to leave it off with that, his dad didn't achieve the success that he did. Roger was a successful champion and everything in the sport. So you have two different dynamics there, that it's all in the family. So Floyd had the ability and the opportunity to learn from both circumstances. His dad didn't go as far as he would have liked to go, but Roger did make it to the mountaintop himself. And so here you have a unique environment to come up under. So Floyd does have the experience far greater than we give credit for, just being within that realm, So the opportunity is in his lap. He can do it or he won't do it.
Yes, sir. Let me get in this chat. CB Sports says, salute Akreacher. He says, salute Stormy B. Ron Finkley said, too bad we can't get Nassim Richardson back in training. Alyssa Santos said, fire. Yeah, this was a fire episode. Floyd's too busy. He has too many networks to deal with in business. My brother Scrapbook Boxing, salute. And Renee Box Young said, oh yeah, they shouting each other out. And then he said, I would be reluctant on Floyd's genius and sincerity of heart and being a trainer. Yeah, you're right. Sincerity. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But time explains all truths. And we definitely gonna we're definitely gonna talk about this more next week. I appreciate my bro Stormy B, man. Would you like to close us out, bro, and give your last words?
Oh man, I just want to say thanks for inviting me onto your platform to talk up the sport, man. I really appreciate that. You know, this was a great boxing talk. We really gave our listeners and viewers a good boxing talk on the sport, various subjects and topics, and I just I just enjoy talking boxing with you guys, and you're doing great stuff with your channel, man. And anytime you'd like to have me on, I'll come and help you out. It's not a problem for me because everybody remained engaged in the conversation as we carry through and everything. And that's what it's all about, man. We support each other out here and give one another that type of respect and support of the platforms because the sport is universal. We may be here in the States where we are, but there's people globally out here, and they have voices, they have opinions, and they support the sport as well. So I think when you have earnest boxing conversation like what we just had in this show, it does a lot for the sport. It does a great deal. So keep doing what you're doing, brother, and don't also gloss over the things that I may have suggested when it comes to the in the gym aspect of things during this
Yes,
talk. You
yes.
can take that information and apply it for yourself. You know, I've trained and worked with guys here in the Shy, and it's like I really believe in the product that I speak, and I've had very tremendous positive results out of it. So, and just keep at it, do what you got to do, and like I said, anytime you want me to come back, I'm open to it. And I just want to say thanks once again for having me.
No problem. And on that note, salute everybody in the chat. So I appreciate you guys showing us love. This was the Jab Stormberry. This was a good court session. Stormy B was my bailer today. I don't know who I'm gonna bring on next time. Maybe I might get Scrapbook. We might have to do the New York edition. We might have to, or maybe Blue. I don't know. But y'all keep looking out for me. I'm gonna try to bring back a couple of my series. Definitely the Ghost of Boxes Past. I'm gonna try to do Insta. I haven't been on Instagram lately, but salute everybody. It's your boy Act Reacher. I never steer you wrong, and I'm out.